if they worked for HealthWest or what department they worked in, and we don't have like an actual personnel file for those people. So it would require us to try to look up each one of those people in our old system, Banner, and see if we can figure them out from that. But I think we can get close. It's just going to be.
I guess MERS has gone through this before, since almost all these counties are.
The only problem is, my understanding, and Kristen can correct me if I'm wrong, is what we give to MERS doesn't tie them to what department they worked in.
Okay, correct.
So it's more of a lookup on our end.
But HR doesn't have all the.
They have already gone through the list.
Yeah, we just have to look up each person individually, pull out microfilm. And,
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of.
It's-
I can tell you, we did this with the LCC when we had to go from the LCC to
Okay.
Rotary, and it gets really messy.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Very messy.
It's a hundred.
Because even MERS can't quite keep up, and as the time and dates keep changing, so does the numbers. And so you'll have one number one day, and then you'll have another number the next, and it just kind of keeps going until they finally get it finalized, but it's really messy.
So it can be done. It's just going to be a time-consuming effort. And then on the second one, I say presumably a portion of the pension bonds that we issued would also be transferred to the new authority. I have our bond counsel researching that. We've had some preliminary discussions, and he was of the feeling that that makes sense and we would be able to do that, but he wanted to check into it a little bit more. So not only would they get a portion of the liability we still have with MERS, but they would also get a portion of that pension bond debt. And they would also get a portion of the assets. We have assets with MERS and hazard with MERS, so we would have to allocate a portion of those assets to the authority. And they would be able, I have checked into this with MERS, they could actually, as long as their bylaws, I think, are set up correctly, could be a MERS, have their own plan with MERS, just like what they have today. So I would assume you would want to do something like that, but that sounds like it's a possibility. Network 180, which is county's authority, has a MERS plan, so that would work for them as well. And then item B, other post-employment benefits, which is OPEB, which is very similar to pension, but it relates to retirees' medical and dental benefits upon retirement. We would have to go through the same kind of process, even though we didn't issue any bonds for OPEB. We would have to figure out what portion of the county's liability could be transferred to them as well as the assets associated with that. And then accrued sick and vacation liabilities, which I did check is about $2.4 million as of the end of our last fiscal year, would also be transferred to them as well. So that would, doing that piece, that whole allocation of assets and liabilities is something that will take some time to work through. But like you said, other people have done it, and we just work through
And I
those.
think maybe they will be able to help us too when they did it.
And then just a few other things I listed that didn't really fit under any major category. As I mentioned, the authority would be responsible to have its own insurance coverage. The authority would be responsible for all insurance claims incurred after the date it became an authority. They would be responsible to have their own bank account and or line of credit. They would still provide us, the county, with an annual audit report, which they do today. They have their own separate audit. And the authority may participate in the county's investment pool if they were to ever have excess
money?
cash.
Extra cash.
Through an agreement with the county treasurer and the board, they would be able to do that. And the county would then also assign all agreements, contracts, leases that were originally signed by the county to the authority.
I have another question on that. And then would they have their own workers' comp and unemployment benefits and everything?
And we currently are self-insured for workers' comp, so there would have to be something set up for that. those are the main things that I looked into.
Anybody have any questions?
Okay. Julia, could I ask you again? I'm going back to your first work session when we did this. You sounded like you had all your ducks in a row prepared for this. You know, you sounded like you knew what to do, how to do it, where you were going to go with it, if it happened. You
Right,
said your
yeah.
board looked at it originally in 2016, and
Correct.
again recently. What is your input as the director if this was to go forward?
I'm not prepared to say, like, to make my own recommendation. I'm not prepared, mostly to what Beth speaks to and to what Mr. Skolnick was referring to. Is it affordable? Can we do it? And until we work through what it's really going to cost us and can we actually do it? I mean, that's, right, I have to make sure that we can continue.
So how did we become one of the only 5 left in the state that hasn't done it?
I don't know, it's before my time. I will tell you that since I have arrived here, I've been here a little over 7 years. When I first got here, I was told that that the department was going to take action to eliminate authority status, or excuse me, agency status, right? They talked about this back and forth. And instead what they did is they only moved one county, which was Detroit-Wayne. That's separate legislation. What I do know is that they're going to open back up the mental health code. And when they open back up the mental health code, and there's going to be an announcement coming up soon about the future direction of this new administration. So one of the things that concerns me is I feel like we really, the responsible thing for me to do is to get my ducks in a row and figure out what I need to do to make this happen before someone comes in and says it must happen. So that's one of the things I have in my head. But I don't have enough information to make a recommendation about what would be the best thing for HealthWest right now. But we are just, along with the rest of county administration, we're working pretty diligently on that. I can also tell you that if we move swiftly on this, that would protect the liability issues, of course, of the county. And if it's possible to do that, and I think we can get information pretty quickly, that strategically we would continue to purchase most of the services that are on. It doesn't make any sense, right? We can't build that infrastructure. And frankly, if you look at the numbers, they're not that high, right? They're affordable. So, and plus that would, you want some smoothing process and some time so we don't hurt HealthWest and we don't hurt the county. We just have to work together on that. And what I can tell you is we are working on that. We got about this far in the process in 2016, and both the county and the HealthWest board at that time said it's not the right time for it. Now we're revisiting it, so we're digging deeper into it to get these dollars for you and figure it out.
In 2016, do you remember what the debt was from HealthWest to the county?
There wasn't a debt in 2016.
So the 12 right now is from the last, those years.
Yeah, the debt, you know, debt's a funny thing. It's really, the debt is really about $7 million. We have that operating cash flow issue of about $5 million every single month. So that's where you're operating as a bank to us, that $5 million. It's a little $7 million, that's real cash dollars that are owed to the county.
Thank you.
So, Julie, I have one more question.
Oh, Brandon just corrected me. In 2016, we had a negative cash balance of 1.2 million. So it was a negative amount.
Julie, last time we met in this room, there was the idea that some of that money was going to be recouped by a Wednesday or Thursday of that same week.
Yeah, it was a broken promise. We got, what did we get today? Oh,
We haven't actually got it, but
we
we
got
got notice.
notification today, yes. But the check was in the
$164,000.
mail for about $500,000. You know, that's,
I have a question on that too. Randy told us a month ago that 2017, if the cost settled, that we would got paid for that.
we haven't been paid for 2017, I believe it's around $300,000 that's owed us. So this amount we got today would more than settle that. So now we're looking at 2018 and of course 2019, which has not been cost settled yet. And 2019 is the big number.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay.
That's it. Start our board meeting at 3:30.
I